Hello everyone, many thanks for joining us to take a look at the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Sales app. I'm Warren Butler, I'm one of the directors here at Preact, and I'm joined by my colleague Daniel Hunter, who will lead the presentation today. Just a few bits of housekeeping before we get started. We've set all of the lines to mute to remove any background noise. But please use the question panel in the interface to ask any questions as we go, and at the end we will follow up and go through those points. We are recording the session, so later on today hopefully you'll receive a link to that session as well. So the main focus for this presentation is an introductory demo of Dynamics 365, but we'll also give you some background information about the product, and that includes an overview of the licensing options available. And the aim of the presentation today is to give you a broad overview of its sales capabilities and really to help you identify some of the ways that Dynamics 365 can benefit your organization. As a quick introduction, Preact are a CRM partner and we lead with Microsoft Dynamics 365. We focus purely on the CRM market and we hold Microsoft's highest accreditations for CRM and cloud services. And since 1993, our services have helped users across all CRM requirements. That includes training, consultancy, user support, as well as our managed service, which combines break-fix help with a bank of consultancy hours and training, which helps people implement the systems and also gain incremental improvements to them as well. To set the scene before we kick off the demonstration, I want to start by covering some of the challenges that businesses often want to overcome and how Microsoft Dynamics 365 fits these needs. We've highlighted 5 requirements that are frequently shared, especially by sales teams, when a new CRM approach is discussed, and several of these might match your own priorities. And these reflect the relationship that CRM represents between an organization's processes, the technology involved, and the people. The first challenge is in developing smarter processes that will improve the efficiency of how a sales process is handled. Another example is to bring all customer and process data together in one place so that you have a complete view of each relationship. CRM is also about enabling people to be productive wherever they work by connecting them to data through mobile apps. We often find that one of the most important transformations that CRM will make is enabling teams to discover new insights from their data. With everything in one place and having embedded analytics, it means that trends can be more easily uncovered and organizations can make more informed decisions which are driven by their data and essentially do a lot more with that data than they previously thought possible. And by having a single source of truth, Dynamics 365 increases transparency and makes it easier for people to do their job, which ultimately helps to create a culture of greater collaboration and better decision making between teams throughout an organization. So looking at Dynamics 365, this consists of a series of connected business applications that includes field service capabilities, project management, and a dedicated app for customer service teams. In this presentation, we are concentrating on the sales app, which also has some marketing functions as well. So I'm going to hand the presentation across to Daniel now.
Good morning, everyone. Just pop up my screen here. So this morning we're going to be starting our presentation in our old friend Outlook. So if I just pop up my screen. Okay. Okay, let me just sort out my screen that we're sharing here. There we go. So, Outlook. Everyone hopefully should be familiar with Outlook. Most of 99% of people in the business in the UK are using Outlook in some way, shape or form, and obviously Microsoft Dynamics 365 is a Microsoft product, so we'll integrate with Outlook at the Outlook level. So we're looking at our customer list here, and we can see we've got a few emails coming into the inbox today. Some look interesting, some not so much, but we can click into these emails, and from these emails we'll be able to link them directly into the Dynamics 365 CRM system. So if we just pick up one of these emails here, let's pop down to the bottom here, wasn't it? Just this email has got the little icon here that says this has already been linked into Dynamics 365, and so the information there, we can click on the app button at the top here. This will pull out a central right hand side pane here, and we'll see this email has been tracked regarding this particular lead. We've got information about the lead here. We've got information about the email recipients down the bottom here. So, for example, if we wanted to, say, for example, we want to track this particular email from this Marit person here, go over to Dynamics 365 again, push that open, and we'll see here now that Dynamics 365 does not know who this particular individual is, so we can now add them to our database. So in order to move this forward now, we're going to create this new person as a new lead in our system. So just to give this a quick topic for our lead. So what's he? Yeah, he's talking about call management. And stick a company name in here for Nordic Telecom. And you'll see it's pulled through your first name, your last name, the email address, and everything else that you can pull out from the email. So we'll just hit save that. And that will go, and there we go, at the top here we've got confirmation, this new lead was created successfully. So now we've got information regarding the lead, and we've got the lead open, all the information here. So if we come off that lead, go back to it again, open this button up here, we're getting information pulling through from Dynamics 365 into Outlook, so that's useful to use, and we can see this particular email, as it says at the top here, has been tracked regarding that lead. So as we're working through here, again, I've got another email here, go to Dynamics 365. We could, if we wanted to, create this person, not going to do it on this occasion, as a new lead in the system as well. So we can populate our database with new incoming business leads from our email inbox with just a few clicks. So I'm going to head over to the main application now. Dynamics 365 is a cloud-based service, so you're accessing via a browser. I'm using Chrome today, but any of the other major browsers, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari are supported, but just for my own personal preference with Chrome, so this is what we're going to be using today. We've opened up here into the initial CRM Online Sales Manager dashboard, and you can see here this is full of interesting bits of information about our pipeline, our revenue, our lead qualification rate, lead conversion rate, and this is all pulling from the system. So this is being calculated from the system, and we can see this being pulled in through the Power BI service. So bits and pieces of information here. We can open the report up and actually get a little bit more information and interactivity with it. So if I click into one of these tiles here, it will take us directly to the report, and we can click on, for example, one of these industry things here, outbound consumer service. All the other tiles will then update in the background to show us just the information, as you can see here, regarding that particular, so the consulting industry. We've won £36,000. There was one opportunity for that. The win rate was 100%. If we go to outbound consumer service, we've won £153,000. If I take it off there, that then goes across the board and shows us all the information across the system. Lots of other information down the bottom here, but this is Power BI rather than Dynamics 365, so we'll just skip away from there for a minute. So a couple of minutes ago, we created a new lead in our system. Head over to leads here. So we've now gone from, if I just show you the navigation there, so when you're not using the navigation, or the navigation just rolls up to the top, so it's not overcrowding your screen with menus that you don't need to be seeing when you don't need them. But in this case, we're going into our lead area, so we'll go into the sales area, and then to the leads area. It will take us to our open leads in the system. And as we can see here at the top, is that new lead that we just created for Marit. So we're going to drill into his lead now. So as a new lead in Dynamics 365, this would be the first screen that you'll be presented with, and you can see you've got at the top of the screen here a bar, so a process bar, and this is a sales process bar, so this is going to help us move this lead from initial qualification up to hopefully closing the deal at the end of the process. So wherever we are in this process, the process bar at the top here is going to help us out by telling us what information we need to be collating at this stage in order to move this opportunity on to the next stage. So we've got at the top here, is this an existing contact? Is this an existing account? Do we know their purchase time frame, estimated budget? So standard qualification questions. So I'm just going to fill in a few of these here. So purchase time frame for this guy is going to be next quarter. His estimated budget is going to be £25,000. It's going to be an individual purchase process, and because of that we know who the decision maker is. And just a little summary in here that we can put in there just so that we've got that initial, maybe we did an initial call with him or whatever else, bit of summary of information there. So this is the process bar, and as we move through this qualification process for this particular lead, you'll see how that works. You'll see here the qualify stage, it's been active for 2 minutes, so it's been 2 minutes since we created that lead, and the overall process has also been active for 2 minutes. Now, as we move through these stages, the stage timers obviously will reflect the time that you're on the stages, but this one at the bottom here is an overall counter. So from the time that the lead was initially created, right up until the time where you either win or lose this opportunity, that will be counting. So if you want to do, we want to do reporting based on how long your opportunities are open from an initial, so an overall time that they're open from start to finish, then this is a good example of how you could do that sort of thing. So moving down into the main form, I'm just going to move this, close this up for a minute just to take it away. Okay, so main form of a lead, obviously we've got the standard CRM-like fields in here, name, job title, so just going to give him a job title, he's going to be developer, his business phone number, in case we didn't already have it, I'm just going to stick that in there. So this works pretty much like any other CRM solution you may well be familiar with. They've got the website, got an address down here, so this will pop out and we can fill out an address for this particular lead if we had it. Don't have it at the moment. Central pane here is your activity pane. So all activities with this particular individual will be logged in this central pane here. So if we're then looking to drill back and see information that's been put in by other users or by ourselves, we look in this central activity pane here. You can see that email there, which we just tracked a moment ago, and now that's available in the system, logged against this lead for anybody to view and interact with and sort of look and see that we've tracked that lead. If we wanted to add a phone call, got a little button on the top here. So say for example, I've just phoned this Marriott chap and we've established that he has a requirement for whatever it is we're selling today. Established requirement, he has a budget, he is the decision maker. There we go, perfect lead. He's got a budget, he's the decision maker, and he's got a requirement. We can definitely help him. I'm going to close that off there, and that will mark that then as a call in the system. So you see that's got a little phone call icon next to it to identify that it's an outgoing phone call, and this one's got a little email icon next to it to say that it was an email. If I click at the top here, we've got some filters. So if I just want to see what the phone calls were, then I can just tick phone calls. If I just want to see what the emails have been, I just can tick emails, or all entities. That will give us all the entities back again. You notice there's a couple of other types of entity type here, so tasks and appointments, and these will mirror the task and appointment things in Outlook. So if you can synchronize between Dynamics 365 and Outlook, create an appointment in Dynamics 365, and that will sync down to your Outlook calendar, and you'll get reminders in the standard Outlook way. Okay, so we've established that Marriott's got a requirement. Just going to give him an industry here. He's going to be in the, there we go, he's going to be in that industry. Save that record there. So save down the bottom here. It does auto-save after a certain amount of time, or you can manually save just by clicking this little disk icon down at the bottom here. So if you put some information on and then get distracted and have to walk away or something like that, it won't lose your information. It will automatically save it every so often. But if we're going to move off the record now, we definitely want to be saving that record. And we're going to head up to the qualification button at the top here. So once I hit this, the system will go away and say, okay, you're now going to qualify this lead. Because of that, I'm going to now create an opportunity from this lead. So the lead, so if we just step back in our process here, you can do this at any time. So this stage has now been completed, but we can refer back to it to just check what the information was at the time. We can see at the bottom here, this lead has now been qualified. So this has become read-only. It exists in the system, doesn't delete the lead, it just closes it off. So it's no longer an open lead. It's not going to appear in anyone's open leads views, but it's there if we want to go back to it and look at it. So back to the opportunity. And again, we've moved across one stage here now. So this develop stage has now been active for 1 minute, whereas the overall process has now been active for 8 minutes. Again, move over to a different stage. We've now got more information that we need to be collating. So it's different information from when we were qualifying the lead. Now we're in a serious opportunity stage. So in this stage, what is the customer's actual need? Well, he needs 60 items of product. There we go. Spelling. Proposed solution, sell him product. Okay. And now, because we're in an opportunity situation, we get the idea of stakeholders coming in. So if you're in an industry whereby you're not just dealing with one individual prospect, maybe Marriott is the stakeholder, but there may well be a technical buyer in this decision-making process as well. We can add an additional contact to this opportunity. So let's just find there we go, Alan. So Alan, in this particular opportunity, is the technical buyer. And as we can add as many of these as we want to. So maybe the managing director of the company, Adam, there we go. He's the ultimate decision maker. There we go. So now we've got a team of 3 people at that organization who are involved in this buying process, and they're all being linked to this particular opportunity. So anybody looking at this opportunity, not Chris in this case, but any of the other users of the system, can look at this opportunity and say, oh, okay, I see here that we've got 3 people at the organization that are involved in this decision-making process. So which one of them do I need to be contacting in order to move this forward, depending on what my role is in the organization. Similarly, so there we go, we've identified the stakeholders, tick. Similarly, sales team. So internally, which users are going to be responsible for moving this opportunity forward? Well, obviously Chris, in this case, is going to be, he's the sales professional, we're working as Chris today, but maybe I'm going to put myself on there as well. I'm going to be involved in this, and I'm going to be the technical professional. There we go, make it true to life. Excellent. So now I've got a couple of internal people who are working on this opportunity. So again, anyone opening up Nordic Telecom's record can see that they've got an open opportunity. They can drill down into the opportunity, open this page and see, oh, I see I need to be speaking to Daniel and Chris about this one. And finally here, identify competitors. So just scroll down the little row a little bit here, and you can see as I've been filling in these items at the top, it's been populating the main form as well here. So you only need to be entering this information once. There's no copying information across fields. Once you've entered it once, it knows that you've entered it, and it will start populating fields elsewhere on the form. So competitors, it's a pretty simple idea. You're in an industry, you're selling products to a prospect, and there are other individual companies who are working in the same business as you. You do come up against them again and again, and you perhaps want to be tracking who it is that you are dealing with in addition to yourselves in a company. So in this case, we've spoken to Marriott here. He's mentioned on the phone that he's also dealing with this company here. So all we need to do is push the plus button up here and link in that opportunity. If for example, he mentions another company that we've never heard of before, so we can add a new competitor, and then again, all we're needing at this point is a name of this competitor at this point. We don't need to be filling in, so you see the only field that is mandatory is the one that's marked with a little red star. So in this case, there we go, new kid on the block, save that off there, and there we go. Now that's marked as an opportunity, a competitor for this opportunity as well. We can actually go into these competitors and see what other opportunities, there we go. So this competitor here have also been involved in these previous opportunities that have either been won or they're still open, and we can see the status down the bottom here. So if you need to know what your win rate against a particular competitor is, just drill in the competitor and you'll get all that information in line here available to view. Okay, so we're in the develop stage and we've identified our competitors. Excellent. So at this stage now, everything's ticked. We can now move on to the next stage. So in this case, the next stage for us is a meeting. So maybe we want to be going on site to see the client, identify, introduce ourselves, do a bit of a presentation. At this stage, all we need to do is specify a meeting date. So we're going to go there middle of next month. And you'll see there now the estimated close date for this opportunity is automatically populated to the meeting date. So that will be the first date at which the system thinks we're going to be able to potentially close this opportunity. However, if we know that's not the case, then actually there's going to be a little bit of a lag in there. We can manually change that. And we've obviously got the budget amount down here as well that was pulled through from that lead. So a very small stage, but we've booked a meeting, that's good. So assuming now we've done the meeting, we've identified the sales team, we're going to develop a proposal, do an internal review, do a presentation of a proposal. All these things are standard kind of sales questions and things that you need to do. But it's important to point out, in this process here, everything here can be configured. So this isn't set in stone that these need to be your stages or your questions that you need to ask. All this stuff can be configured for your business processes. So I'm going to head back over to the proposed stage here. So in this particular stage now, we are going to be developing a proposal, generating a quote for a customer. So if we scroll down the opportunity here, we'll see products line items is the next thing on the opportunity. So Dynamics 365 has a inbuilt product catalog. So if you've got a catalog of products that you're selling to customers, or as complex or as simple as you need to, or in fact you just want to generate write-in products, so maybe you're a consultancy company who's just selling days of time or bulk hours or something like that, you could put those on there as well. But for purposes of today, we're going to add some existing product. So I can now query a product catalog. And I can see here, excellent, we've got a lot of products in the system here. I'm going to pick the top one. There we go. So that's CRM Online Professional. This person's going to need 45 units of that. Immediately, the extended amount then updates to 27,000. And at the top of the opportunity estimated revenue is also updated in the background to replicate what we've said that we're going to be doing for our quote. So we've entered our line items. We've got that all in the top. The next stage for us now is to actually create a quote for the customer. So underneath line items, it comes at the bottom of the form here, quotes. Hit a plus here, and that will open up a new window with our quote. There we go. So it's pulled through. Obviously, the price list, the opportunity is linked, so the potential customer is linked, and the product is pulled through from the opportunity. Now, we could actually go into this and say we're going to be doing a bit of a discount on this, so we could give a manual discount maybe. Let's give them an annual discount of, what's that, 27,000. Let's be generous. Let's give them a £500 discount. Go on to there, save that off, head back to our quote, and you'll see now the overall, we've got £26,500 now because we're given a manual discount, and at this point we can now throw out generate a quote. So you've got a couple of options at this point. You've got the inbuilt reports that run, and then we'll generate a quote in a PDF format. So I'll just click on there and show you how that works. Again, all customizable, so you put your own company branding in here, your own quote templates, all that sort of stuff. This is how it comes out of the box, and there we go. We've got who the customer is, who the quote owner is, total amount, unique ID for the quote, date the quote was generated. If we'd filled in any of this stuff, it would appear on the quote. And then we've got our product down here, so CRM Online Professional, 45 items, 600, subtotal is 26,500 because we added that discretionary discount onto there. Alternatively, we've got the idea of word templates. Oh, sorry. Yeah, word template. So I've already got a word template created here, so we could throw our quote out as a Word document and then edit that document. There we go. So now this is a Word document. It's got our little branding at the top here. Again, it's pulling through that product information. Got a signature block as part of our quote template down the bottom here. So again, this can be created as a user. You could create your own templates here, or this could be deployed on an organizational basis if you wanted to control that a little bit more. Either way, you could either push out to a report, to a PDF, or to a Word document, and then have that quote available. So now we're going to push that, activate that quote. So we're going to push that in front of the customer for the customer's opinion, and the customers come back to us and they've said, excellent, I'd totally like to go ahead with this. Thank you very much for my discretionary discount. We're going to create an order. So there we go. The status reason now is we're going to mark that as 1. The date 1 is going to be today. And because we're associated this quote with an opportunity, at the same time as closing the quote, we can also close the opportunity. So there we go, and the actual revenue is calculated from the quote. So the value of the quote is going to be the closed revenue for the opportunity. Hit OK on there. That will close that quote as 1, and then that will then change into an order. So the system knows where you need to be going. It will sort of guide you through the processes as you go through the system and give you the relevant information as and when you need it. So now we've got an order in the system, so our order processing people or whatever can pick up this order. You can see we've got a load of other orders in here and they can go through this. They're all marked as new. So if you're doing order processing through Dynamics 365, your team there could then take these orders onwards from there. So one of the other aspects of sales management, so we've seen so far, obviously leads, opportunities, accounts and contacts. We can have a look at those as well, I suppose. So go over to accounts. They will be very familiar to you from when we looked at the lead form before. They're kind of laid out in a similar way. We've got information on the form here, various data points throughout the system, and then our activity pane in the center here. So you can see for this company, we've actually got quite a lot of activity in various bits and pieces. So again, we can demonstrate the filtering here. So if we just want to see phone calls that we've done, there we go. And if we just want to see emails that have been picked up, again, so we can really easily filter in, filter out types of activity to get a better view of our engagement with this particular customer. Mapping, so this particular account actually has an address put in, so we've now got a little map control down the bottom here, so we can see where they are in comparison to where we are. And if we're doing kind of field sales and people want to know where they're going and want a map to it, they click through onto there. That links straight into Bing Maps, and then we can pick up directions or traffic or anything else. There we go. It knows where. Well, it didn't know where. Let's just. That's not a real place. That's why. Okay, so if that was a real place, then we'd get traffic directions and everything else from there. Okay. Again, the contact record. So again, it's very similar to the account record. So I'm going to pop into this guy, Aaron, here. Again, central pane here. So communications activities with Aaron would show up in here. We've got customized fields down the side here. So what his hobby is, what his credit card type is, what his favorite color is. There's no limitation to how many fields you can have in the system. Again, it's completely customizable. You could have process flows associated with accounts or contacts, not just leads and opportunities. So if you're maybe working in more of a retail type thing where you've got account managers going out to see individual accounts and they have a life cycle, you could have that life cycle replicated as a process flow for that particular account. Down the bottom here, we've got, so let me just head back to my account that I was looking at a minute ago. There we go. So in order to get back there, you'll notice I clicked up the top here and I clicked on this little clock icon. So as we've been navigating CRM today, we've seen, it has in the background been tracking all our movements. So it's been looking at all the records that we've looked at. So we can easily go back to any of these previously opened records just with a couple of clicks. So we go up to the clock and then we could go back to ABATA. If we were working in an environment whereby there was only sort of 5 or 6 accounts that we were actually ever dealing with, we could pin these records. So these would always appear. There we go. Let's pick up some more accounts. And they will always appear at the top of my recent records, irrespective of what else we've been doing. So we could flip between these accounts. We wouldn't have to search for them. We just go up to the clock at the top and click on our particular record that we're interested in. And the same is for views. So open opportunities, open leads, we can pin these views. So instead of having to navigate through the system here to go to leads, opportunities or leads, here we can go up to the top here, go to open opportunities. That's then straight back to that record. We've looked at the opportunity record. Great, we've got loads of open business. Go back to our record. So lots of navigation options, and it basically is up to the user to decide how they want to be navigating the system. There's lots of ways that you can do around it. I particularly find this recent records thing quite useful because I work with a small number of accounts on an ongoing basis. So the ones I'm working with, I will pin up at the top here in a pre-sales capacity, and then when we're, when the deal's been done or whatever else, I'll unpin them. They'll move on to the technical side of the business, and I'll be picking up more customers that I'm going to be working with. So I find that particularly useful. Okay, so we've seen our accounts, we've seen our contacts, we've seen our leads, we've seen our opportunities, and we've seen our competitors. So we've covered off this little small area of the sales thing. Oh, we did quotes and orders as well. So Goals is something that I wanted to have a quick word about today. So as we've been selling to our customers or our prospects, if we've got a sales target, we can then set that up in Dynamics 365 as a goal. So in this case, I've got a sales goal. I've got a sales goal of £250,000 for this quarter, and currently I've achieved 42% of that, and this is all being calculated from what we're pushing through Dynamics 365. So when I close an opportunity as won, or I close an opportunity as lost, or I create an opportunity in the system is then calculating my actuals, which will be obviously closed won opportunities, my in progresses, which are open opportunities but not yet closed, and at the top here we've got a little chart. So we can see here percentage achieved is 42, but based on where we are in our quarter, the system is telling us actually we should be at 60% today. So we're not only behind target, we're significantly behind target for our goal for this period. So we really need to put our finger out. And you can have these goals either on a user basis or on a team basis. You can have goals that reference each other. So if I just click into our sales goal here, so there you can see how these goals are created. So we can do it by fiscal period, we can do it by custom period. We're defining when, obviously we're in fiscal year 2017 at the moment. Quarter one we're saying is 1st of January to 31st of March. This is our target here. But if we had individual sales targets for our salespeople, but also an overall organizational target, we could have the organizational target here and have that made up of child goals. So these individual child goals would feed in to the overall sales target for the organization. So you can create quite complex structures here, and this is also not just for opportunity. So if you've got, maybe you now have a goal of pulling in 50 new leads a week, and you wanted to monitor that through Dynamics 365, you'd set that up in exactly the same way. It doesn't have to be about closed revenue or whatever else. It's any mathematical thing that you can think of could be turned into a goal, displayed in a chart, pushed into a dashboard, and is then available for anyone to see. So management users get an idea of their KPIs, where they are against them for the month, and the system's doing all that work for them as your sales users are using the system. Okay, so that's goals. Right, so we are, what's that, 25-2. So we've got about 10 minutes. So I want to just do 10 minutes on the other side of the sales app, which is, you know, it's here in the orange, the marketing side of things. So again, we've got accounts and contacts and leads, because marketing users would still need to reference these particular entities. But the idea of quotes, orders, invoices, opportunities have all not be present on this particular menu. So marketing users really are marketing lists and campaigns. Head into marketing lists here. So two types of marketing list are standard in Dynamics 365. You've got the static marketing list, and we can look at one of those. So the idea here is that you are physically controlling who and who is not a member of this particular marketing list. So whether this is a specifically targeted marketing list that you want to control who's receiving this particular communication, or it's in this case a Christmas card list. So I've decided that these two people are on my Christmas card list. I can add other people if I want to, so I can add using a lookup and pick other people from the system. So now I've got all the contacts in the system here. We can see we've got 844 people in the database, and I want to pick Angela and Anne and Anna, and they get added to my marketing list. Now they will stay on this marketing list until I remove them from the list. So in this case, Angela here is off the list now, so she gets removed. So it's controlled by the list manager effectively. People don't automatically appear in these sorts of lists. You manually add them, you manually take them away. So quite useful for very targeted marketing campaigns where you know who it is you want to be receiving the communications, and you know who you definitely don't want to be receiving the communications, more to the point. The other type of marketing list would be the dynamic marketing list, which is cleverer than the static marketing list, but it has its uses throughout the system as well. So in this case, instead of adding people to the list, what we're doing is defining a criteria for people who will be appearing in this list. So in this case, this is our director list, and from the definition here, we can see that this list is made up of people whose job title contains director, or their job title contains manager, and their favorite color equals blue. So this is quite complex. Well, it's not that complex, but it's, you know, it's more complex than I'm just going to add this person to the list or take them away. We could by using the data that we have in the system here. So if I see here, we can drop down, we're looking at contacts, so any of these contact fields that we have in our database, we can then query based on those fields. So again, I'm just going to take this one away. There we go. So in this case, this marketing list now, we could have it based on someone whose job title, there we go, no, next one up. Job title contains sales. So quite a simple definition there. And that will automatically then pop, there we go, straight away. My marketing list is now populated with everybody in the database who has a job title containing the word sales. So if we're sending out a sales communication, or we're creating a campaign aimed at sales users in organizations, this marketing list would be great for that. We just go into Harry here, verify, yep, he is the sales manager. Now, if Harry's data changed, so for example, Harry moved departments, and he now was in the purchasing department, purchasing manager, lovely, and hit save on there, and we'll head back to our marketing list. You'll notice Harry has gone because he no longer fulfills the criteria. He doesn't have sales in his job title anymore, so the system's automatically just removed him from that list, and he will not appear in this list again, either until we change the definition of the list or his job title contains sales. So dynamic marketing lists are quite useful in terms of doing larger kind of communications based on data that you're holding about individuals or accounts or leads. I mean, this one's targeted at contacts, but you can specify what sort of area of Dynamics 365 you want to be pointing these things to. And then they can be used to generate campaigns, or if we just pop into here, you'll see that this is associated with a campaign here. So this is a marketing list that's associated with a campaign. Campaign here is the co-branding with the large retailer campaign. And then we've got this particular marketing list associated with it. Now, if we sent out a communication here to this particular marketing list and that leads were generated from this campaign, they would appear in the leads area here. We could generate campaign activities, we can generate some financials for this particular type of campaign. So the whole circle gets close at this point, where we're at the top level campaign contains one or more types of marketing list. We do our communications, whether it's a phone campaign or an email campaign or anything else like that. From that campaign, leads are generated, they're associated with the campaign, and then we go back to the reports that are available through the system here. So if we head over to dashboards, all that information would then feed back into our master dashboard at this point to show us what our, our lead qualification rate, our lead conversion rate is. We could have charts on most leads generated per campaign, costs of campaigns, all that sort of thing, with all the information pulling through from Dynamics 365. Okay, so we've covered accounts, we've covered contacts, we've looked at leads and opportunities and competitors, quotes, orders, products we had a quick look at. We can go to a bit more detail there. So we looked earlier at the product catalogue when it was in the opportunity form, but this is the product catalogue as it exists in its entirety. So we can see here we've got various types of product in the system available. Just going to sort by that. So we've got standard products. Just pop open one of these for a minute. And you'll see here on the product form, we've now got a lot of information about this particular product. So product properties. Now these are things that you will define when you're adding a product to a quote or an opportunity. In this case, this is for an Exchange Online subscription. So the properties, they don't affect the price, they don't affect the cost of the item, but they need to be specified before we can add them to a quote. So what the subscription is and what the URL is that they want to attach to that. We've got price list items. So this is where the actual cost of the item is set and generated for when you're adding it to a quote. You can have multiple price lists in Dynamics 365. So for example, if you're working in multiple countries, multiple currencies, maybe some of your accounts have a different pricing structure to other accounts, new accounts have different pricing to existing accounts. However it is you do it, this can be replicated through Dynamics 365. You can have individual price list items per price list for any or all of your particular products. Scrolling across here, we can now see product relationships. So we can see that Exchange Online has a cross-sell relationship with CRM Online. So to see that in action, we head back to an opportunity here. Yeah, this one will do. I go down to our product line items. You'll see this little button here, suggestions. So if I click on that, that will then say, oh, well, you've added Office 365 and CRM Online. Maybe you'd also like to cross-sell, Link Online, SharePoint Online. Yeah, I think the customer would benefit from SharePoint Online. We can add that to the list there. And then we've now, from the items on the quote that we've put in, the system is suggesting that we should now add in other items. And again, with SharePoint Online, Exchange Online's come up, CRM Online Professional, Enterprise. So we'll pick CRM Online Enterprise and add that to the list. So you can see as we go through there, now properties for this item have not been set. We looked at properties a minute ago. And then we see max users, yeah, 60, organization name will be test. These other things are filled in. So now we've satisfied the properties requirements for this particular item. So these are all green tick now. We could now say, yep, we're now ready to quote this particular customer. The product catalog's quite sophisticated within Dynamics 365, gives you a lot of opportunity to set up, upsell and cross-sell for items within your product database. And for a user, as you saw there, very easy to then navigate through that when you're dealing with prospects and customers, to be able to make suggestions to them when you're on the phone to them, say, oh, I see you've got Office 365 and CRM Online on your quote here. Would you be interested in also picking up Link? Add that to the list. So very easy to do, quite easy to navigate, and these relationships are defined, as we saw there, through the product catalog in here. So we go to a product and we set up those relationships. Now the other thing we can look at here is a product bundle. So this would be an item that we'd add to a quote that will contain a lot of other items. So you can see here the Office 365 and CRM Small Business bundle contains Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, Link Online, and CRM Online. So when we add that bundle to our quote, it will actually add all these products to our quote. So it's another way of making it easy for sales users to actually sell your bits and pieces without them having to individually understand what it is that comprises any particular pricing offer. You could then just define that pricing offer in the system, tell them it's available, tell them what the price is, and they can add that to a quote, and everything else is then managed by the system. So good bit of a functionality there around products. Okay, so we've seen sales, we've seen marketing, got a couple of other buttons here. Settings is the next one. So settings basically is the back end of the system. So it's where you make your customizations, where you define your document templates, where you configure your app for Outlook, where you'd look at doing processes and workflows. So processes and workflows is something I just want to have a quick look at because they are quite powerful. I've got one here that automatically will set the currency for a lead when I create a lead. Because this particular organization is only operating in the UK, we only have one price list. So as soon as a lead is created, this workflow sets that price list to be the UK price list. We just pop into there, and you'll have a quick look about how easy this is to configure. Come on. Thank you. So, just going to deactivate it for a minute. Okay, so we've got a process name up here, update the lead currency. We can see that the scope for this, so scope means when this is going to run. So user means it only runs for me. Business unit means it only runs for people in my business unit. Business unit is basically an organization of users within Dynamics 365. And the organization is whenever anybody does this thing. So that's what I've got it set to. Starts this workflow after a record is created. And it runs the workflow as the person who made the changes to the record. So you've got the idea of modified by and created by, same as any other database really, and you've just got a couple of options here. So if I could set it to, I own this workflow, so if I wanted to say that I made that change every time, then I can set it to there. Or if I wanted to say that the person who created the lead made that change, then I can set it to here. And at the bottom here, we've got the actual definition of what this particular workflow is going to be doing. So as you can see, we've got an update step here. It's going to update the lead. I'm going to click on Set Properties. We can see down here, all it's doing is setting the currency to pound sterling. So instead of when the users create a lead, they would have to select a currency every time. The system's doing that job for them. So we can automate as much of Dynamics 365 as we want to. So if we've got administration tasks that are time-consuming, that just mean quite a lot of clicks for users every time, we can create a workflow that kind of does that job for them every time. And they don't never have to worry about that. It just happens in the background, and you're safe in the knowledge that this stuff's getting updated, but the users never really have to interact with that at all. That's all being driven by workflow in the system. Okay, so we've gone through the basics of Dynamics 365 this morning. The last thing we're going to have to go look at here is reports. So it's on the end of the list here. Dynamics 365 comes pre-configured with well, it says 27 there, quite a lot of different reports that you can run over your data. So we've got the account overview report, the account summary report, neglected accounts, neglected leads, neglected products by account, quote report, it was the one we looked at earlier. So all these reports are defined in the system, and they can be edited by you for your own personal usage. So if we were looking, for example, at the sales pipeline, use anticipated potential sales, run that report, it generates, looks at the data, and throws out a report ready to view and print out. So there we go. Pop that open there. It gives us a nice, simple report that we can then throw out to, where's it gone? There it is. A PDF file that we could then generate and send around to whoever it is that's interested in it. So if you have that kind of requirement around Dynamics 365, a reporting requirement, don't necessarily want to get into the BI side of things, so you've got more of a traditional requirement around reporting, then all those reports are available in the system for you to interact with and work with from day one. Just as a quick finisher off here, so we started off the presentation today looking at this particular dashboard here, and we'll finish off today looking at this particular dashboard here. So as you can see here, we closed an opportunity earlier, and these numbers would, I've got this refreshing once every day, so these won't update until tomorrow morning now, but if I wanted to, I could have this updating every hour or so, so we can have sort of near to live KPIs and reporting from CRM as a dashboard here, pulling from Power BI. So lots of good opportunities to get information back from your system to make sensible buying decisions based on information that's in the system. We've got top accounts here, so we can drill into that there. And all these dashboards are all built around a standard connector for Dynamics 365. So these are reports and charts that you would again have access to out of the box with no configuration. It's just a connectivity thing, and we can see obviously win-loss analysis here. So what our win rate, what our lose rate is, our trend, top deals, top won opportunities, sales pipeline, lots and lots of different information and KPIs, our activities. So if you want to do activity tracking, activity management, you can have that as a particular dashboard in Dynamics. So all available to you from Dynamics through Power BI, and then pushing back into Dynamics 365 to close the loop there. Okay. I think I'm done, Warren.
Thanks, Daniel. Great stuff. So to finish off the presentation, we just want to touch on the licensing of Dynamics 365. As we saw earlier, the sales app is just one part of the suite of products. And there's flexibility so that users only need to be licensed for the functionality that they need. So for an individual that just wants access to the sales capabilities that Daniel's demonstrated, they can be licensed to a single app. And equally, if you've got a customer service agent that just wants to be able to use service functions like case management, they also could just be subscribed to a customer service app. But where individuals want to be able to access functions across different roles, a Dynamics plan will always be the best value. For example, there might be a user that wants to manage sales opportunities, but they also want to use support cases as well. And in those scenarios, a plan subscription will be the best fit. So these are what we would call full licenses, as either an app or a plan. But for anyone that just wants a light usage to read data, update contacts, accounts, or complete other tasks, a team member is a low cost of entry. Now, all of these options can be mixed and matched within an organization, and there will likely be a combination of users who are licensed with plans, role-based apps, and team member licenses. If you want to know more about the licensing of Dynamics and indeed more background about the product, I'm sharing a couple of PDFs in the webinar app at the moment, which you're free to download. So you should just be able to click on those and download that. And that really concludes our presentation this morning. I hope you found that useful. We're going to be staying online for a few minutes to pick up any questions that you've got. But if you're leaving us at this point, many thanks for your time, and we hope to speak to you soon.